Good morning, guys. Good morning. Welcome to the Fearless Morning Show, where we are having confessions and conversations about your everyday life. My name is Yamitra. Jojo Waddell, the only Live Past Crazy special, so what better place to be than here with me. Hope you guys are ready to get the day started. Please make sure you share the show because sharing is caring. If your friends and family don't have Facebook, send them over to your YouTube channel. They can binge watch all the Fearless Morning shows over there. And subscribe. It costs you nothing to subscribe, just a little checkbox, and I greatly appreciate that. Don't forget, we have the podcast that where podcasts are. We have the books, we have the movies, we have all the things. So if they don't do any of that, tell them I said, Grand Rising, good morning, and have the most amazing day ever. All right, so yesterday we talked about owning our power, taking ownership, and we often don't do that because of the consequences that come with owning our power and what those consequences look like and who they affect. And that could be the reason why we don't take ownership. And so let's talk about, hold on 1 second. Let's talk about why that's important. Good morning, Mama. Why are you over there and not over here? Tell me now. So, we talked about taking that ownership of your power yesterday, right? And how much of your past should you honor and should you respectfully reserve, and how much of your past should you disregard and evolve from? So we talked about that yesterday. So today we're talking about, I had this thought this morning at like, my first alarm went off at 4:45. So this first thought probably came in around 5 something or another. And so I wanted to talk about where versus are. And I had to, because I put the notes in my phone, so I had to write them down. And I want us to be clear that in this, as we're growing in this circle of me, don't forget the circle of me. I'm doing the introduction on the 19th at 3 p.m. It is free. Please make sure you join me. But you have been who you were longer than you've been who you are. Meaning who you used to be, you've been that longer than who you currently are. People will continue to treat you like who you were instead of who you are. And we have got to be careful when we continue to allow people to treat us as who we were instead of who we are. Yeah, with me? You've been who you were longer than you've been who you are. I've been JoJo Waddell longer than I've been the Live Past Crazy specialist. I've only been her a short period of time on this truest version of me, a shorter period of time than I've been JoJo the other period of time. People will treat me on as the JoJo that they've known a long time as opposed to who they know me to be now. So where versus are. Where I was versus where I am right now. And we've got to be careful when we are interacting with people and talking with people, if we continue to let them treat us how we used to be instead of who we are currently. Because who you were is what established your being with them. Like who you were is how they know you to be. It's how they met you, it's how they became your friend, your co-worker, your family. That's how they know you. Who you are right now they may not have a full understanding of who that is. And so they continue to treat you like who you were. That's a frustrating place to live. It's frustrating for the person who is growing. It's frustrating for the person who is learning. It is frustrating for all the people who you interact with, and you know that you're different. You're not who you were, you're who you are. They just don't know this version of who you are because they've known who you were longer, right? So, as in this circle of me, as we begin to take a look at what's in here and how people treat us about where we were, we've got to be careful if we continue that, if we allow them to continue that. Like, can they, oh, that's why. Okay. I was wondering why this was, y'all had to figure that out. And so who you were versus who you are can be confusing to them, right? It can be confusing to them simply because who you were, they understand that person more. They understand who you were more. So if you encounter when you encounter people, and this is a lesson I'm learning myself, that as I encounter people more, that the new people are learning me now as I am. Old people knew me as I was. And because they only know that part, then they treat me differently. Y'all with me on that? So I was who you were longer than who you are now. Who you used to be, you were that person for years. Sherry, I love you so much. I'm sending so much energy and love to you. Let me tell you, I thought about you all day yesterday. I love you, my friend. Thank you. Let me tell Sherry I love you. Sherry is one of my good friends, and I love her to pieces. She makes my heart smile. So anyway, where you were versus where you are, there was a difference. Okay. And as people begin to treat you differently, you have to be patient with yourself and them, meaning you have to understand that you have changed and they're learning how to deal with that part of you, just like they are trying to detach you from who you used to be and understand who you are now. So you've been that person for a very long time versus who you are. Okay? So who I am today is not who I used to be. And so when people continue to treat you as who you were instead of who you are, you have to be cautious with yourself and with them, because you want them to respect who you are now, although you understand that they only know who you used to be. Which brings us back to yesterday. How much of your past do you respectfully honor, and how much of it do you disregard and evolve from? And so who you were versus who you are is a real thing. People will continue to treat you based on who you are, who you were. They will do that. And because they do that, we can live in a state of frustration. And if you are not dedicated to the change that you said that you wanted, you will lapse back to who you used to be, because you'll be like, ain't no need me changing because you didn't think I changed. How many people heard that? You didn't think I changed, so ain't no need me changing. Because who you were that longer than who you are right now. You've got to be patient with yourself in that moment. And if you're not patient with yourself in that moment, then you're going to frustrate not only yourself, you're going to frustrate them, you're going to frustrate the situation. But who you were, you've been who you were a lot longer than who you are. So JoJo years ago, I've been her longer than the JoJo that I am today. And so when people treat me like who I used to be versus who I am, I've got to be patient, not only with myself, but I've got to be patient with them. And I have to understand that I'm dedicated to this part of me, that I'm free to live in my healing. I'm free to live outside of this. I have looked at the past, disregarded what I did not need, and honored what I did. And I'm living differently. So when people continue to treat you as you were, you have to kindly remind them that's who you were, not who you are. And the more you stand in who you are, the more you separate yourself from who you were, the more you stand in your healing, the more you look at your past and disregard what you no longer need to hold on to, and respectfully honor the things that you do. But you've got to stay in that place of who you are. And so when somebody or a person, place, a thing, friendship, relationship, career, religion reminds you of who you used to be, you got to stand firm in who you are. Because who I was before then doesn't apply to who I am today. So as we continue this journey in the circle of me, right? As we continue this thing, I want you to be patient with them. I want you to be patient with yourself and know that you've been who you were longer than who you are now. That's a lesson I'm learning. And I felt like I should share that with you. I've learned it little by little, but this morning when I woke up to it, I was like, yeah, that's it. That is it. So on this great, most amazing day. Y'all, if y'all missed the show yesterday, I'm just now realizing that nobody watched the show yesterday. For some reason, my audience was set to only me. And so nobody for the last, I guess, 4 or 5 days has seen any of my posts. So I had to go in and change the audience so that you could see the morning show. So we've been here all week, guys. For some reason, my audience was set to only me, so I was the only one that was able to see the show. Good morning, Miss Janice. At least on my personal page. Over here on the other pages, everybody could see. So thank you guys so much for watching. So as we're working on this thing, y'all, as we're working on it, where you are versus as you are now, I'll share it with you, Miss Janice. It's different. Okay. It's different. And you've got to be patient with people. That's the show from yesterday, Miss Janice. Because we talked about taking ownership. Yesterday we talked about taking ownership of our circle, and what are the consequences. We worry about the consequences of not taking ownership of who we are, not taking ownership of our power, and worry about the consequences of that. And how much of the past we need to respectfully honor, and how much of the past should we disregard and evolve from, because eventually you got to grow past what you've been in. You got to grow past that, friend. Okay. So there we go. So we talked about taking ownership of that power yesterday. You have yet to understand the depth of your power. I've yet to understand it myself. We haven't even touched the surface of the power that we have to change the world. Miss Janice is just getting started. Miss Janice, you're just getting started in understanding the power and the depth of the change that you're getting ready to have. Please, y'all check out Miss Janice. She has a YouTube channel and an amazing podcast. Please make sure you check out Miss Janice. Can you post your information there? And she is the sweet, and she's one of my sisters. She's the sweetest lady. So y'all make sure y'all check out Miss Janice. Miss Janice, if you drop the link, I will share it on all the pages as well. Because good morning, Miss Tammy. We've yet to understand the power of who we are right now. We haven't begun to touch it, and we haven't began to touch it because we're afraid of the ownership of it. I love you too, Miss Janice. We're afraid to take ownership of that. And that ownership looks scary. It looks like, who am I to be doing this? And friend, we've got to say it with our chest. It's me. Like, who else was sent here to do this thing other than me? Nobody is questioning our abilities. Good morning. I missed you guys. Good morning, Tammy. Good morning, Joshua. I had my audience set to only me. So I've been going live all week and wondering why nobody was talking to me. It's because you guys didn't know I was live. And I'm sorry because somehow I changed my audience. So we got a week worth of shows. So y'all go back and watch them because they were good. They were really good. So on this great day, this thought hit me at 5 o'clock this morning. You've been who you were longer than you've been who you are, right? People will continue to treat you as you were, not as you are. People will continue to treat you as you were, not as you are. You'll get mad, you'll get frustrated, you'll get angry. You got to be patient with them because they are learning who you are. And the more you separate yourself and step into your healing, and the more you become who you are, the less you become who you were, then they will adapt and change to who you are. Some people will never evolve to that. We've got to be okay with that. That some people will only remind you of who you are. Remember when they serve you your shame and your guilt, that's them reminding you of who you were. We do not have to eat from that platter. We can choose something else at the buffet. I choose healing. I choose the good grade of stuff. I choose healing. I choose love. I choose peace. I choose abundance. I choose blessings. I do not choose for you to hand me that shame and guilt that I have went through, discarded, and evolved from. Because now I'm living in my healing. Okay? So on this great day, I want us to be careful how we allow them to continue to treat us that way. Okay? So it can be a gentle and friendly reminder that says, you may be remembering the JoJo that I was, who I used to be. And I understand that that's the only one you know, but this is who I am now. Allow me to introduce her to you because this is this is the truest, most authenticated self, me now. And we're not apologizing for that. Not apologizing for that statement. We're not apologizing that we're feeling this way. We're not apologizing that we're bringing it to your attention. It is what it is. And if I'm not that person, then you're not going to treat me that way. So on this great day, I want you to have the most amazing day ever. The most amazing day ever. I hope you're ready for the holidays. If you celebrate, I hope you're safe as you travel and celebrate with your friends and your family. But most of all, I want you to think about the circle of you. I want you to think about, and your new year can start anytime, taking ownership of your circle. I want you to think about taking ownership of your power. And the mere fact that you've yet to tap 1/10 of a proportion of who you are and the awesomeness that is you. Okay. Welcome to this new version. And it's not a new version. I want you to understand that it is you living your true authentic self. Before, you may have had layers. And remember, we talked about those layers before. Maybe you had layers that people gave you that they assumed you needed and you just wore them. And now you've taken those layers off and you are standing there. And so now you are you and you're not somebody else. Introduce them to that. Oh, happy early birthday, Joshua. Joshua's birthday Saturday. Happy birthday. Great morning, sunshine. Good morning, Miss Margaret. I was just telling them my videos were on private for some reason. So all week, you guys miss me. I've been here talking to myself. It didn't matter. The words had to be said. So go watch all this week if you missed them. So, guys, I want you to have the most amazing day ever. I want you to be peaceful, period, because there's nothing after that. And then don't forget, we also have the Fearless Morning Show notebook. So if you want to take notes for the Fearless Morning Show, with the thought of the day and the quote of the day, we do have that available. I'm just going to put the whole link right here. Let me make sure this one is the one that works, where you can find all the Fearless Morning Show things there, so that you can grab what you need. Good morning, Kimberly. All right. So those are the links. So if you want a Fearless Morning Show notebook where you can take your notes, if you want a Sister Rise mug, if you want a Sister Rise bag, the workbook, you can find that stuff there. Now on the 19th, we do have the information session for the Circle of Me. It is free, and it's a new program that I will have coming out. And we're going to talk about that and answer all the questions about the Circle of Me. So, on this great, most amazing day, remember, you've been who you were a lot longer than you've been who you are. And then people will continue to treat you as who you were instead of who you are. And you've got to be careful when they do that and remind them that you knew who I was, not who I am. Allow me to introduce who I am to you, because I'm no longer that. Like we talked about yesterday, I have looked at my past and discarded the things that I didn't need so that I could evolve to who I am now. Because I'm taking ownership of my circle. All the things, Margaret. All the things. Yeah, we got to allow ourselves to do better. So on this great day, y'all, thank you for hanging out with me. Go back and watch all this week's shows. Like I said, I was here talking to myself, but we had a good time. Y'all were here in spirit. So I want you to have the most amazing day ever. I want you to be peaceful, period, because there's absolutely nothing after that, okay? There's nothing after being peaceful, period. There's absolutely nothing after that. I want you to begin to take ownership of your circle, okay? It is important. And I want you to trust yourself with your power. And this is the insert that we read from yesterday. I trust this, as we're talking about owning your circle and why we don't trust ourselves with power. I trust the size of my power. I trust myself with power. All my definitions of power are getting upgraded. And I am at peace with my power, peaceful power. It's in this book. This is the workbook of Sister Rise. If you would like that, it's on page 4. Because respectfully, we stand at the gate and ask ourselves to begin this new journey. So I love the words that I wrote in the introduction to that. So make sure you check that out. All right, guys. Thank you for sharing, Miss Margaret. I appreciate you. All right, guys. I hope you have the most amazing day ever. And I'll see you here bright and early tomorrow morning.